financial problems, elder law, tax problems, business matters, divorce, personal injury, bankruptcy, your life, your reality. Life is complicated. There is the law and there is reality. Welcome to Law and Reality, sponsored by THAV GROSS. Now here's your host, Ken Gross.
Welcome to this segment of Law and Reality. Today's topic is estate planning and financial planning for your future. Brian Small, good morning.
Good morning, Ken. Always a pleasure to be here. You welcomed me first. I was confused.
Because you were on my left, for a change. Jeffrey Kirshner, I know you're always on my left.
Nice to see you, and I like seeing Brian confused. It kind of evens out the show.
Last but most important, Pat Simasco, good to see you.
Thank you.
Pat is our elder law expert and also our financial planning expert.
Wow.
And today we're talking about financial planning and estate planning, something that Brian does a lot, I do, Pat does financial planning, elder law. We're putting it all together. Jeffrey Kirshner, you're going to add your gloss from the standpoint of disability and your just always intuitive perspective on
And I'm
things.
very glossy, yes.
All right. I want to do this in a Q&A type of a format with my gang of gurus here. But I want you to think about when we're answering the questions, everybody has a different perspective depending on their age. We've got 5 generations. The iGens are the babies. They're born 1995 up till 2012, so they're infant. They are youngsters just in the 20s down to the 5 and 6 year olds.
Wait. The newborns get no name? They don't have a generation of their own?
Not according to my web research. Millennials born 1980 to 1994. How many millennials do we have here?
None.
Generation Xers, 65 to 79. Jeffrey, Brian, not for you, Pat.
No, I'm
Baby
way older
Boomers. There we are, Pat and I. Silent generation must be Joe behind the camera. Well, those are our war veterans, really.
That's the older one,
the WW2 veterans. So the whole point is when you're looking at the questions that we're talking about, you've got to think in terms of everyone has a slightly different perspective depending on their age and how urgent certain situations are. Now, in the context of this, we've talked about the 3-point retirement plan. Own your home free and clear, have 0 debt, have some savings. That's the goal. That's the minimum goal at retirement that gives you the assurance that you're going to have sufficient assets to live out the rest of your retirement without Panicville setting in. So let's look about financial planning. All right, first question. Should you always contribute to the company 401k plan?
Yes.
Of course.
Yes.
Yeah. Start early and make sure you do it. Just get into that saving mode. The key is getting into the saving mode. Keep doing the saving.
Yeah, I would agree that start budgeting, even taking a little bit of money, even $50, $100 a week or a month, just something to kind of contribute, especially for those who are younger. The more time you do it, the better off you are down the road.
You know, I've always told people when they're getting into their first job, if that 401k is available, just take 10% of your paycheck and contribute it because you're not used to having it in the first place, so you might as well just put it in before you even see it. And then every time you get a raise, take 50% of that raise and put it into your 401k. Now, that may not be possible because you might need the money to live on, but if you can do it and continue to live within your means, you're going to have a lot of money to retire with.
See, that's a big difference, though. What you just said is important. It's not you may need the money to live on, you may want the money to live on. You need that 5th iPad, you need that fancy car, you need that.
Well, first you got to get the 4th iPad.
You need. Well, they already had the 4th one. It's in the dresser. So And the big reason for it, those older generations had pensions. No one will have pensions anymore. So you need that 401k money to retire on. You need it. You will
Well,
have to
you
live
need
it.
that money, and from a Social Security perspective, who knows what the status of this system is going to be? It's already top heavy as it is, and so that's certainly going to go down at some point in time. So you have to have something else to rely upon when you retire.
Absolutely.
I think
I
it's
hope you're wrong about it going down.
I think it's interesting. The question becomes, is there like a middle generation in there, a group that's going to hurt worse than our future generations? I think the iGens and the millennials are going to get it. I think the Generation X is the one that's going to suffer the most at this point, because they were part of the group that pensions disappeared in, and they
Right.
didn't really start putting away enough in the 401k. So we get a wealthy generation, we're going to get a generation that's going to suffer, and then I think it's going to come back. What do you think about that?
I think that's going to be big, because that next generation is going to be paying for all of our debt. We're up to over $20 trillion in debt right now with the
And
government.
growing every day.
And growing by leaps and bounds every day. And who's going to pay for it? Someone's got to pay for the wars and the health care and all the other stuff that the government's been paying for.
You know, I've been taking an approach with young people, and particularly with my kids, and what I realized is when you're a child, your parents in some respects put an imprint on you that's almost like brainwashing, that you don't ever question. So what I did with my kids is, as soon as they got their first jobs, they said the first thing happens is they come to you and they say, what do I do on all these selections? They don't know anything about it. I said, on the 401k, you check the box to make the maximum contribution. You do that for the rest of your life. You never deviate from it. You never borrow from your 401k. Do you understand? Yes. And they just accepted that, and now they've gone forward, and they're 8-10 years out, and they don't even think about the 401k money, which is exactly the way you want it. Except you also got to tell them how to allocate their funds.
Yeah, absolutely. And the longer life expectancy you have, the stock market always outproduces everything else. I like to say put the most aggressive plans, but then you have to realize if the markets are going up and down, that actually helps when you're contributing to your 401k, because if the market's crashing, you're buying more
You're buying it
shares.
low.
You can't pull out. You can't pull out and go into the more conservative funds when it's going down. You have to keep it
At
going.
what age do they start going into a more conservative mode?
Closer to retirement. Closer to retirement.
We're coming up to a break. I guess the question I want to ask you right after the break is, when is closer to retirement? Is that 40, 50, 60, or 70? We'll be back after the break.
Tax problems are major problems. Don't let the IRS levy your wages and seize your assets. There is a solution.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
If you're behind on your taxes and owe money to the IRS, call THAV GROSS.
We've been solving tax problems for 32 years. We stop wage levies, resolve unfiled returns, and obtain the best possible settlements.
Call THAV GROSS today, 888-235-HELP. If you're retired and in a financial crisis, there is a way out.
It pains me when I see a retired couple exhaust their savings by paying credit card bills and for a home hopelessly underwater.
THAV GROSS specializes in helping retired people in financial crisis.
You just can't keep paying until you're broke. You need to address the problem now.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
You're all set to retire. You have your home paid off, money in the bank, and sound investments. But if you're not careful, all the things that you work so hard for can disappear. At Samasco Financial, we'll help you prevent that. We go beyond ordinary asset management. We'll safeguard everything that you have by creating a plan made specifically for you. How much can you afford to lose? Nothing. Protect the people that you love and the things that you have. Call Samasco Financial today.
You can't work. You have to deal with pain and stress. Worse yet, our system for applying for disability benefits seeks to deny you the benefits you're entitled. Jeff Kirschner is an expert in obtaining disability and workers' compensation benefits for his clients. You need to call Jeff before you apply or after you're denied to get the benefits you deserve. 888-235-HELP. 888-235-HELP. Carrying too much debt? Resolve your debt. Call THAV GROSS.
You don't need to be broke, and you don't need to hit rock bottom. If you have income and you're struggling with debt, dump it. Think about the next 10 or 20 years. If you do what the banks tell you, you'll have nothing to retire with. There is a solution.
Don't waste your future. Call THAV GROSS. We're experts at eliminating credit card debt. 888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP. Is the debt piling up? Struggling to get by?
It's all about preserving future income. Bankruptcy is one option. When it's right, it's the least costly, most effective way to save your home, eliminate a second mortgage, and wipe out credit card debt. But you need to address the problem now.
We help people with bankruptcy. Call the experts.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
All right, so right before we came to the break, Pat, we said put the money in as aggressive of a plan as you can following the stock market. At what point do you become less aggressive?
Well, I think the closer you get to retirement, or more importantly, when you're going to be needing to spend the money. Because if you don't have to start pulling money out of your IRA until you're 70 and a half, because that's your required minimum distribution. So if you have a really good Social Security and really good pension, you have other funds that you're going to be drawing down from, you can keep in still more of a aggressive stock portfolio, because you're not going to be pulling out until you're 70 and a half. But if you retire at 59, 60, and you're going to be needing that money to live on, if you have a drop in the market and you have to spend when it's down, the opposite, it's a double bang. You won't have it to go back up. And that's when people really should look at reallocating it to more.
So the time to get aggressive, to get conservative, is when you're taking the money.
Yeah. When you're going to be starting to take, or the couple years before. So here it is. You got your retirement at the end of the rainbow, the lights at the end of the tunnel, and that was in 2007, and everybody was going to retire, and everything's rosy, and then the market crashed. And what do? They went back to work as a greeter at Walmart or Home Depot, or they had to work at their job longer because they just didn't have those retirement funds.
What a shocker. All right, here's the next question that you have. I hear people, I want to talk about credit. Say you have credit card debt and medical bills. Two questions. First of all, I hear some people say, don't contribute to your 401k, pay off your credit cards, pay off your medical bills. So that's question A. And then the B that I hear people say is, and I see it on TV all the time, well, refinance your home to pay off the credit card debt and the medical bills so that you're not paying that high interest rate.
Okay, I'll take a stab at this one. Not contributing to your 401k is a bad idea. Refinancing your home to pay off your credit card bills is a bad idea. There are other solutions that are out there. They may temporarily hurt your credit score, but at the end of the day, when you retire, you're on a fixed income. It's done. If it's spent or it's not there, you just have less to live on. That's it. It doesn't magically refill, as Pat just pointed out. So if you've put yourself in a position where you've incurred debt, you got to find the quickest, easiest, least costly method to get out of it, which quite often is a bankruptcy. At the same time, you get to keep your house and keep the equity you've already accrued in it, and no one can touch your 401k. So why would you dip into assets that, according to what should happen, our 3-point retirement plan, when you retire, you've got to have your house paid off. You can't retire with a mortgage. You shouldn't. You've got to have some money in the bank. There's your 401k. If you're not contributing to it, it doesn't grow. And you've got to have no debt.
I follow your points, and I want to emphasize a couple of things to people. Number one is, to our viewers, is the 401k money is not, you get to keep it if you file bankruptcy. Creditors can't get that. The credit card companies can't get it. The medical companies can't get it. So pulling the money out of the 401k to pay those items is always a mistake, because you can keep that money and they can't get to it, and you need that money for retirement. The second one goes back to just what Brian said. The 3-point retirement plan says own your home free and clear. If you keep refinancing it, if you were one of the people in the area of the 80s and 90s like I was, I refinanced my home 3-4 times. Now I'm just getting at the point where I'm getting my house paid off because the light finally went off, and I accelerated my payments because I want to get the house paid off according to the plan. But if you just start off with a 30-year mortgage and you pay it off, or a 15-year mortgage is even better, and you pay it off, and then you're not making that mortgage payment every month, your chance of saving money for retirement is so much better.
Absolutely. And one thing you absolutely never, ever, ever, ever do is get that home equity loan and then invest it in the market. Because we've had people come in and said, my guy, he told us to pull out $300,000 out of the house, pay your 3% interest, and we can make 7 or 8% in the market. And the market crashes, and the house has a full mortgage, and they don't have any money in their retirement accounts anymore. So don't ever do that.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I mean, it may be true in certain circumstances that it would work, but you're gambling with the core basic of your plan that says, I've got to get the house paid off.
But I think a couple things. First of all, home equity is so tempting. You've got this house, and you look at your statements, and your house may have gone up in value, or people go on Zillow all the time to see what their neighborhood is doing. So, oh my God, I've got $50,000, $100,000, $150,000 into this house. I'll borrow off of that. And I can also get a lower interest rate. Well, then you start from scratch again. Then you start your mortgage again for your 30 years or your 20 years with regard to mortgage, and you're already back at square one. Who cares what interest rate you're paying? It may have gone down a point and a half, but now you've got this big debt hanging over you.
I think the worst words is, oh, I can afford that monthly payment.
Yeah.
Just thinking in those, people think in those terms. Well, I can get $20,000 and I only have to make this $110 monthly payment. That sounds like a good deal. I can go to Disneyland. I can put on that.
And people
No, you
forget.
can't,
And people
you
forget.
can't go to Disney for 20 grand. You can get that right out.
in the old days.
One day, maybe.
People forget that when you refinance your home, it's not just like you're taking the money out too. It costs you money to get it. There's closing costs. There are fees associated with it, and they're in the thousands of dollars. So the minute you start to take money out, you hurt yourself again.
And the one last thing is that there was a fallacy. Before, your house kept going up in value. So you'd refinance your house, but then you'd gain more equity because your house increased in value. Houses aren't increasing in value like they used to anymore. So you're not going to
you don't
gain
have
back that
guaranteed
equity.
appreciation for the rest of your life.
Right.
You know, the thing that the message here is this: a lot of the messages you receive are not the right advice. The mortgage industry wants you to refinance because they want to issue mortgages. It's that simple. The credit card companies want you to do anything you can to pay them. So if they tell you to take the money out of the 401k or stop making your 401k contributions, they don't care. They care about getting their 20% interest. So you have to vet yourself and go through all the options and think through what's the smartest play for yourself. We'll be back after the break.
If you're retired and in a financial crisis, there is a way out.
It pains me when I see a retired couple exhaust their savings by paying credit card bills and for a home hopelessly underwater.
THAV GROSS specializes in helping retired people in financial crisis.
You just can't keep paying until you're broke. You need to address the problem now.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
Carrying too much debt? Resolve your debt. Call THAV GROSS.
You don't need to be broke, and you don't need to hit rock bottom. If you have income and you're struggling with debt, dump it. Think about the next 10 or 20 years. If you do what the banks tell you, you'll have nothing to retire with. There is a solution.
Don't waste your future. Call THAV GROSS. We're experts at eliminating credit card debt. 888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
Nothing provokes panic and fear like the threat of a school shooting. Unfortunately, we've seen a sharp increase in students making copycat threats in order to gain notoriety. I'm Macomb County Prosecutor Eric Smith. Students, this behavior will not be tolerated. Felony charges will be brought against anyone who threatens the safety of our schools. Parents, please talk to your children and pass along this message. If you threaten our schools, it will cost you your future.
Time for announcements. Want to remind our viewers to listen to us Tuesdays 11:30 a.m. and Saturdays 7 a.m. for Law and Reality Live on Praise 102.7. Be sure and sign up for our monthly contest. Free $50 Visa gift card, Law and Reality hat, and a copy of my book, Dump Your Debt. Go to the websites, click on the link, and sign up. We've got seminars coming up. Wednesday, June 6th, 6 to 7:30 p.m. Sunshine is Summer and Being Debt-Free is the name of the seminar. We're going to focus on how to preserve future income for you and your family so that your money goes into the bank rather than going to the credit card companies. Solutions using bankruptcy, solutions outside of bankruptcy. We're going to have a special segment with Jeff Kirshner covering the basic elements of addressing a disability claim and a workers' comp claim. Attendees get a free copy of my book, Dump Your Debt. This is a seminar that gives you the opportunity to find out your options on how to get rid of debt, which is the smart play so you've got money left to retire with. Then on Wednesday, July 11th, 2018, 6 to 7:30 p.m., we have an estate planning seminar. An estate plan avoids costly fireworks. We're going to talk about all the elements of an estate plan, documents you must have while living, how to avoid probate, what happens when you end up in a probate fight and how to handle that. Attendees receive a $300 gold certificate off the cost of any estate plan. Sign up for both seminars at thavgross.com, lawnreality.com, or call 888-235-HELP. Want to remind everyone that you can always come into THAV GROSS for a free consultation. If it's debt issues, tax issues, business issues, estate planning issues, elder law issues with Pat, disability issues with Jeff, just call the firm or go on the links at lawnreality.com or thavgross.com and you can sign up. The phone number again is 888-235-HELP. Also, check out the websites. First of all, the website's been redone, so our website's new. Take a fresh look at it. Also, go to the websites for free reports, how to save your home from foreclosure, business formations and loans and grants for small businesses in Michigan, and the Retiree's Guide from Social Security to Social Security from Pat Samasco. I want to thank our sponsors, THAV GROSS, Samasco Law, and Jeff Kirshner Law. Now back to the show.
Is the debt piling up? Struggling to get by?
It's all about preserving future income. Bankruptcy is one option. When it's right, it's the least costly, most effective way to save your home, eliminate a second mortgage, and wipe out credit card debt. But you need to address the problem now.
We help people with bankruptcy. Call the experts.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP. Tax problems are major problems. Don't let the IRS levy your wages and seize your assets. There is a solution.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
If you're behind on your taxes and owe money to the IRS, call THAV GROSS.
We've been solving tax problems for 32 years. We stop wage levies, resolve unfiled returns, and obtain the best possible settlements.
Call THAV GROSS today, 888-235-HELP.
Nothing provokes panic and fear like the threat of a school shooting. Unfortunately, we've seen a sharp increase in students making copycat threats in order to gain notoriety. I'm Macomb County Prosecutor Eric Smith. Students, this behavior will not be tolerated. Felony charges will be brought against anyone who threatens the safety of our schools. Parents, please talk to your children and pass along this message. If you threaten our schools, it will cost you your future.
Okay, next question. Should you defer your Social Security or take it at 62? You can take 62, 66, 70.
Yeah, normally it's better to wait because it's an 8% increase by every year that you wait, and then that ties into your IRA. How do you pay for things if you're waiting to collect Social Security?
Suppose I'm holding off and taking my Social Security to 70, but I'm short on cash.
Yeah, so that's what your retirement accounts are for. The taxes are the problem, or tax brackets. So if you pull out of your IRA at 62 and you don't have Social Security, that means your tax bracket's lower. So you can pull out of your IRA at a lower tax bracket. Let your Social Security build up, so when you start pulling Social Security, your IRA number is lower, which means you may have a lower tax bracket in the future.
Also, one of the big negatives of retiring at 62 or taking your Social Security at 62 is a lot of people still want to work and they think, oh, I'll supplement my income with my Social Security, but you're limited in the amount of money you can make from 62 to full retirement age. At full retirement age, you can make as much as you want. But I think it's what, $15,000 a year, and for every dollar you make after that, you have to give Social Security back 50 cents.
You have to look at the life expectancy, but not the husband's life expectancy, because typically he's the higher earning. You have to look at the wife's life expectancy, because if he dies, she steps into his shoes. So if he waits to collect Social Security and he passes away, she'll have a higher Social Security, and she's going to live to 100 now. So it's really more important to look at the spouse's life expectancy.
And the longer that is, the more reason it is to hold off and
it
taking
can
the
be
money.
hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars difference in life. See, Social Security says everybody dies at age 82. That's the actuary date of death for everybody. Women live longer, health care is better, people are living a lot longer, so they have a lot longer life expectancies. But that's when it goes into your comment about Social Security is going to have to redo their numbers at some point in time because
there's
gonna
not a
go-
question that
yeah.
people are outliving what they projected.
Yeah,
And
But as they
becomes a
redo
problem.
them, because they redid them a couple years ago, it ends up extending the years, but so far it hasn't extended the years that far out. It's going to affect probably our grandchildren.
yeah.
It's going to be a different system by then, but for now, so the game plan is wait if you can. If you're short on cash, use the retirement money, because using that money, pay the taxes, you can afford to do it then,
Yeah.
and then you're going to get the greater benefit down the road at 70.
Yeah.
All right, we're not going to get to estate planning today, so we'll do that in a later show. But let's talk about credit card debt for a second. I think the perspective I want to share on that is depending on the ages. And I had this concept for the young iGens, for that 6-year-old. I want to reverse brainwash them. And when I say that is, the credit card industry is brainwashing America two ways. You're worrying about your credit score all the time, and they're playing nice songs and music and showing happy people spending money on their credit cards. I think you need to reverse brainwash your kids to tell them bedtime stories associating bad things with the use of credit card debt. Sunshine is saving money. Stormy clouds is spending money using the credit card. Like imagine if in your little storybook, Visa, MasterCard, and American Express were all monsters and goblins. If you've got a 6 or 7-year-old, he grows up with that imprint in his mind. He's going to never want to use a credit card.
The psychiatrists and psychologists of America are thanking you right now.
Yeah, well, how many sponsors you just
created,
lose, right?
created a whole new generation that needs therapy.
I may create.
Well, does that tie into my disability claims now?
It's possible,
There might be some
yeah.
anxiety created by
We're creating
it, but
work for Jeff.
it's positive anxiety.
That's true.
Yeah, all of a sudden there'll be all these young disabled people. I don't know. I can't do anything because I'm afraid of Visa, MasterCard, and American
Well, if you look
Express.
at the youngsters, they get their first credit card. This is just free money. What do you mean I can buy this stuff and not have to pay
Oh, they gave
for
my
it?
daughter a credit card in college. I'm like, with what are you paying for it with? You don't have a job. You know, it was
Right.
unbelievable.
I can tell you, I have reverse brainwashed my kids because I was a credit card user and abuser in my 30s and 40s. And they are so averse to credit cards that they just only say bad things about them. They'll have a card so that they have a credit score and everything else, but they know it has to be paid off, and they never even look to using them.
See, that's what flew into your other comment before. If you have these big credit card debts, then you can't put money in the 401k plan.
And that's what you need to do. Great show. Good having you guys. We'll be back next week with Law and Reality.